This is the Red Sign Podcast, a deep dive into legacy wealth building through real estate. Welcome to the show.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of the Red Sign Podcast.
We're recording these in the same day. I should have brought different shirts so it looked like we recorded on the day. But
people are going to listen to. No one's going to watch our ugly faces. They're going to listen to our beautiful voices.
That's the profile of my nose as I turn to you.
We just got to work on our radio voice if we're going to do this. So
yeah.
All right, we're talking real estate, everybody, and we've got so much to talk about. Let's talk fast and let's just jump right into it. So as we discussed, what are some of the most pressing, most urgent things to jump into? We thought we would start by talking about the basic fundamental question of making a real estate move, meaning you've already got your little condo, your townhome, your starter home, and now you're feeling the pressure of either upsizing, downsizing. You've got more money, you've got less money. Something's creating some pressure where you want to make a real estate change. How do you make that change in 2021? And how do you make it a good change?
Let me ask you this before we dive fully into that. If let's say that you see this market going crazy, you see all the equity that you have in your house, but then you hear chatter of fear of the market crashing. Is that fear legitimate? Is it how would you talk to a friend?
Yeah, for sure. That? When I was just a year ago, it was end of 2019. I had multiple people in a conversation. We did an investment 101 little seminar here at the building, and we had multiple people say, well, this has got to come down someday. We've had since February of 2012 nothing but appreciation, and it's not like little appreciation. It's like 8-9% appreciation year after year after year. And we had investors saying it's got to stop someday, which markets go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. But having the crystal ball of knowing when it's going to go down is hard to do. And I remember specifically saying the only way this market's going to go down, and I'm looking at the fact that it's hard to get a loan right now, so we don't have very many specs going on. We don't have speculators. We have like real home buyers occupying with down payment, jumping through hoop after hoop after hoop to get their mortgages. Like, we're a really qualified market. And I made the comment, the only way that this market's going to stop or have a crash or come down is if we have a natural disaster like a pandemic hit us. I really did say that. And like 3 months later, the natural disaster of a pandemic came. And what happened?
It got crazy.
It suppressed inventory.
Yeah.
People decided, well, I don't want to make a move. I don't want to have to move. I don't want to have to deal with the selling process, or I don't want to. But the buyers didn't. People still kept getting married. People started fleeing the big cities to come to the Midwest. And all of a sudden we had more and more buyers and less inventory. And we had the exact opposite happen. Last year, internally, one of our local builders, I'll say their name, it's Edge Homes. They just released their numbers that internally they had 17% appreciation in 2020. Wow. That's the year of the pandemic. And they're the biggest builder here in Utah right now, unit count wise. They had 17% appreciation. That's nuts. So our disaster did come and it didn't suppress our market. So now what do we do? Is the market going to crash?
Well, hold on one second.
Okay, go ahead.
One interesting thing is that when the pandemic first hit, I remember we were actually in a meeting with someone that was buying the home we were building them, and they stuck through. They were from San Francisco and stuck through, built a beautiful home in Alpine here and made it happen. And I remember like the day they were shutting everything down, we were sitting in a meeting. Like, she had just flown in that morning, and it was March 11th.
March 11th. And that March 11th is the day everyone flooded Costco to get the toilet paper.
Yeah. Yep. And what else was interesting was like our office, like a lot of people stopped coming in and everybody was scared of the pandemic and everything. And I remember just coming in and still working. And we had people that were under contract on some of the land we were selling and different things. And they were walking away from earnest money, so like $5,000. I remember some of them just saying, hey, we need to cancel it. It freaked them out and said they were willing to forfeit earnest money.
But they were speculating. The guy that walked away from that earnest money was a home builder without a buyer. He was just speccing a home, and he panicked. But that panic lasted maybe a month.
Yep, 3-4 weeks. And they actually ended up coming back. We honored their earnest money again, and put it towards and built the same home on the same lot they were going to do, and they sold it before it finished. So
I don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
I don't have a crystal ball. But what I can tell you, the overall stats, and that is that we still have huge supply and low demand. And like any commodity, any market,
huge demand and low supply.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, let's get that right. Huge demand and very, very low supply. The only way a market's going to quote unquote crash is for that to switch. Right? We'd have to have more supply and less demand. So how does that happen? What would it take? And we say it takes a natural disaster. I don't know it would take something very significant, because right now our supply is so low and our builders can't keep up. Almost all of our builders in the last couple of weeks have said they've already pre-sold 2021. Literally all of their runway of lots and developments that they have, they've pre-sold it all. At the time of recording, it's like mid-February. It's February 15th right now, and they have pre-sold the rest of the year. Yep. And so when I see those kind of numbers, and when we really look at who are the buyers, we don't have the big entities from Asia coming in buying neighborhoods, which I had that in 2007. Mm. When I first got in the real estate market, it was a very common thing for these big investment groups, and a lot of them were, at least that I was dealing with here in Utah, were from the Asian markets, and they were buying like 100 single family. And I still remember it was a Rambler with a 2-car garage, 3-bed, 2-bath on the main. They wanted like 100 of these homes along the Wasatch Front, and they were just like acquiring them like crazy. And that market fell out. We don't have that right now. The offers we're getting multiple offers on all of our homes. They are almost all occupant buyers. They all have 20% down. We have multiple offers lately on like starter homes that have cash buyers. And I always ask, are you an investor? And my last couple have been people downsizing, and they legit just have cash and they're buying. So my crystal ball, if I had one, says you're not just bullish in 2021, I'd be bullish 2022 and probably into 2023 until something.
Rates maybe shake up.
Yeah, maybe rates go up and it slows things down. Maybe it just flat out really does get too expensive, and then people start going more Midwest and everyone has to move to like North Dakota or somewhere. I love you, North Dakota, but I don't think your market's as hot as others, perhaps. Anyway, can we get back to our narrative?
I love
you want to sell your house and move to something different, right?
Yep.
So I now that we've got that addressed and you feel good about, hey, I do want to sell my home. Again, maybe it's your starter home and you want to move up, move down, or move lateral. And you feel good about the market from the conversation we just had. Now the question is, how do you go about it? How do you maximize the sell of the home? Again, our mission is to build that legacy wealth through real estate. And that starts by making good buys, but also selling when it's right and maximizing your profits on the sell. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you is there's multiple options. There's not just one way of doing it, and there's billboards all over and there's marketing all over that really just preach one way of selling. There's really not. The first thing I'm going to tell you is, do you really have to sell? I mean, ultimately, if you want to build wealth in real estate, you don't do it through selling. You do it through buying and buying more and more and more and never selling, right? Time value of money. But if you absolutely decide, okay, we need the money out of this home, we can't home equity line of credit out, we can't refinance that, we really just want to sell, and or we just don't want to be landlords, it doesn't make sense to have it as a rental, we really need to sell. Then my next conversation is going to be on condition. We don't want to sell a junky house. We can, but you will lose money. So the first thing is, do we need to do a light rehab or a light remodel or some updates of some kind? The nice thing is I will absolutely walk you through that process. I think any good realtor out there, anybody focused on maximizing dollars would be or should really focus on those basic updates that we can do to home. And we'll have a whole nother episode on
what would you say, just real quick, would be the first 3 or 4 you might recommend that are easy that a seller could use?
Yeah, it's cosmetics.
Okay.
Number one is the runway. I call the runway the car from a buyer's car door to your kitchen sink. That is the runway. That is what most people know by the time they're standing in the kitchen, if they're even going to make an offer. Bedrooms are bedrooms, bathrooms are even bathrooms, but they know from that curb appeal of getting out of their car to that entryway of the home, and then of course kitchens sell homes. So if there's updates that I have had multiple people replace their front door because of this conversation, and then I always attack flooring and kitchen. right? And obviously paint if it needs paint. And that, kitchen can get a little spendy, but if you want to talk to investors and flippers and all of that, they're going to tell you first thing to do is the curb appeal, then you attack the kitchen, then you go to the wet areas, all the bathrooms, stuff like that. So we're going to do a light rehab. Once that rehab is done, or if your home's already in great shape, then we can talk about listing. And a good premium listing is going to have a combination of a fantastic pricing strategy, which means you don't price it too low, but you certainly don't price it too high, because we want to allow the market to dictate the pricing. And I haven't done that most of my career. Usually list price is important. In 2021, list price almost doesn't even matter, because it's our job to do number two, which is to market in a way that creates multiple offers and to get a bidding war going for highest and best. And then, of course, the third way that we're going to maximize the profits out of this house is hardcore negotiations, working the magic, scheduling showings at the same time so people run into each other and it creates urgency, and then we can sell it. Now, my question for you, Hayden, is how do you help somebody that says, well, okay, great, I'm going to sell it in a weekend. Heck, I might sell it in a half hour of being on the open market with the demand out there right now. How do I sell when I don't have the next place lined up to purchase?
It's like a really good question. And a lot of it depends on your situation.
Right? Do you go
strategies and
you don't want to make yourself homeless, but you very well could in this market.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about being a seller is you hold all the cards right now, right? So you get to make all the decisions before you go under contract, which is nice. So if you need a little extra time to find a place, there's ways to sell on. I know we have our 4 current strategies that we recommend, but really a lot of people don't know this. I think that you can put your home under contract with the contingency that you're not going to sell it unless you actually find something. Which is
the first strategy out of those 4.
Yeah.
And I guess the message here is you do have options. That being the very, very first one. The second, of course, being that you could go make an offer contingent upon selling your home and kind of put the cart before the horse. That's a little bit tricky to do because you've got to compete. Our recommendation is still you take that leap of faith and list your home, get a buyer on it contingent upon you finding somewhere. Or B, we do a rent, or I should say the third one is you do a rent back where we negotiate that allows somebody to close on your home and then they rent the house back to you. Because of loans, you can only do that for about 60 days, but usually between the under contract of 30 days and then the 60 days, that's 90 days for us to go shop and find something. And then the fourth one, which is a good option, and that is you do make yourself homeless and you actually do crash with family or in an Airbnb or in a weekly or something like that. And that way it makes you a competitive buyer. That's the hard challenge right now in this market is how do you compete when you've got 10 other, 12 other, 15 other, people competing for the same home. But if you've just sold your starter home, you've got down payment money, and you might even have more than down payment money. And when it comes to making offers right now, we're seeing a lot of offers that have a handful of strategies to make themselves more attractive. And it usually comes down to they've got cash to throw around, meaning not cash to go buy the whole home cash, but they can say, hey, not only are we a buyer with 20% down or 10% down or a healthy payment, but they can pay X amount of dollars above appraisal should the appraisal come in short. We're suggesting to buyers to also offer non-refundable earnest money on day one. We've got strategies of saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to pay your closing costs, not just ours, but we'll throw some money to pay your title fees, to increase your net. And using these strategies hopefully can secure the win, but it does cost that money. But if you're selling a place, this can give you the cash, to make that transition.
Yeah. How would you explain earnest money to someone that never heard of it before?
A security deposit. It's the easiest way. It makes a contract. It consummates a contract. There's very few contracts in any arena that don't have money that consummates it. That makes it real. But earnest money right now in Utah has also gone up. When I very first got into the business in 2007, when it legit like big expensive homes were doing $500 earnest money.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. I was like, what? I can tie up this $500,000 home for $500. It
does seem like we're getting more and more to that 1%.
We are at the 1% for sure. If you're coming in and you're not doing $5,000 on a house, you're gonna, you just look like a weak buyer, even though it's still refundable and all of that. But I think where it really gets bullish is when you come in an offer and you say, hey, even just on my 20-minute walk through the home, I love it so much that just by accepting my offer, half of my $5,000 is non-refundable.
Yeah.
That's scary to do because you haven't inspected it yet, you haven't appraised it yet, but it might take that kind of guts to win an acceptance.
And if it's not a cash, if it's someone getting a loan, which most likely it is, that earnest money is refundable through the due diligence deadline, which is usually a week or two. It seems like it's getting shorter and shorter the more we go here in this market. And then if your offer is accepted contingent on the appraisal coming in at the price that you offered, and it comes in low, you can back out, the sellers can back out, you can meet in the middle, you can pay the difference.
Right, you still negotiate it.
Yeah, you can still negotiate that. And I don't think we've lost, at least I haven't. We've had a couple get squirrely with appraisals. Sometimes we'll get an appraisal redone if we can. FHA and VA doesn't let us do multiple appraisals, right? It's one appraisal. VA is the same way.
Yeah, but
conventional.
Yep.
Conventional will allow multiple appraisals. If it's a cash offer, would you allow an appraisal contingency?
No, there's no point. It's cash.
Right.
Yeah, people might do it if they're well. The only reason why they would do it, and this is going really deep, but people say that they're cash, but then when they order an appraisal, all that tells me is you're not like true cash. You're hard money. It means you've got a hard money lender that's lending you the cash, so you look like cash, but that hard money guy still requires an appraisal. Yeah, that has come up, and it's usually a clear sign of them showing their true cards on it, which isn't a bad thing. It is what it is. But no, I think. Overall, let's I guess we could sum up and wrap up with is it worth jumping in and going through this process here in 2021?
I would say yes, absolutely. I'll make the comment that I make to all my friends and family that are looking to buy. So to me, real estate is fun, it's exciting, it's the hardest job I've ever had and ever done, but it's also the most rewarding job I've ever had and ever done. And what I told my sister recently, who I helped buy a townhome, is this market can change at any time, and it seems like it runs in about 10-year cycles roughly. And you correct me if any of this is... No,
that's true, but we're about knocking on that 10-year cycle.
We're past it, right? We're 12.
Well, 2012 to
9 years,
2022.
10 years, you're right. So I just said, whatever you buy, make sure you're comfortable living in or owning for at least 10 years. And if you have great equity after 2 years and want to swap it out for something else, great. That's a win. But plan on 5 to 10 years where you're buying this home and you're committed at least that long. If you sell before 2 years, you're going to pay taxes on any gains you make. I just think people need to realize that this market, like you said, is up and down, right? Eventually we're going to see a crash. What'll be interesting is to see what are the numbers from the 2007 market. We dropped about 20%. Is that right?
Well, from 2007 to 2012, the recession, probably at the highest places was maybe as high as 20%ish, at least here in Utah. I know there's certainly markets around the country that were hit even worse.
And last year, you said Edge Homes was a 17, they saw 17%.
What's funny is our numbers are not out. It's February, but our quick, when I pull up the numbers, it's like 9 or 10%, unlike the overall market, which is still our highest because the year prior to that, Salt Lake in Utah County was 8 point something.
And it could always be worse, right? Like who knows what we'll see with the next hiccup in the market. But if we were to drop 20%, how many years back does that take us?
Yeah, like 2
years. So it's really not as crazy as you're still. I mean, you're really, if you look at it, it's not as bad as it sounds at this point, I guess.
Yeah. Well, to answer my own question personally, I have more real estate under contract that I'm purchasing right now than I ever have in my career.
Yeah.
And so when people say, "Well, aren't you scared?" I for the exact reasons you just said, is I'm not looking to turn around and sell in the next 2 or 3 years. I'm looking at long-term purchases.
That's what I was going to say too. It's fun, it's exciting. It's not sexy. Is that fair to say? It's an investment you buy
on the long-term stuff.
Yeah,
but it can be sexy. I mean, come on, everyone talks about owning cool
Clay
real
makes
estate.
it sexy.
Hey, I have had some of the sexiest little dumps in Rose Park that had termites and cockroaches. But once I got the bullet hole through the window, I decided I was a little too sexy for me. And I've since sold it.
Oh,
but
dang it.
Real estate can be fun.
Yeah, someday we'll have to hear about your other your rental. Was it Provo?
Oh, we can't. The haunted house?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's a whole nother episode.
We'll talk about
People don't believe me. I have the dolls with blacked out eyes from the floorboards to prove it. But that's another episode.
A little dark.
Well, we love you guys. We probably have a following at this point of like millions of subscribers. So we're glad you guys are hanging in through episode 2. Hopefully this was useful.
Email recommendations too. Should we have any recommendations people could email in at?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, send us a message if you want to hear us talk about something important. support@redsign.com. And other than that, we'll sign off. See you on episode 3.
Have a great day.
You've been listening to the Red Sign Podcast, a deep dive into legacy wealth building through real estate. See you next time.